On this Memorial Day weekend, Sanderson Ford salutes the troops, those that have served, are currently serving, and those that paid the ultimate sacrifice so that we may enjoy the freedoms we have today. We're in Oakland, where last night the losing streak was snapped. Back early today as the D-backs look to make it 2 in a row over the A's. D-backs and athletics on Fox Sports Arizona. Good afternoon from the Oakland Coliseum, and welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthew, Bob Brenly along the way. Game 2 of this 3-game Memorial Day weekend series. We saw a little bit of a tweak in Torey Lovullo's lineup last night. John Ryan Murphy was the DH batting third, and Bob Torey has taken it to the next level here today.
You know, Lou Piniella used to talk about lineups like this and say, I had too much wine to drink last night. I don't know if that's the case with Torey Lovullo, but Paul Goldschmidt hitting in the second spot. See what he did in the ball game last night, a triple, a double, also hit a long fly ball to left field. Batting second as a designated hitter. He's had one plate appearance in his career as a number 2 hitter.
It's a top-heavy lineup for Torey today. Put all the best hitters, stack them up top, and see how it lays out. They'll send Clay Buchholz to the mound for the second time as a D-back. He was very impressive in his D-backs debut over the weekend in New York.
Yeah, took a no decision in a 4-1 Diamondbacks loss, matched up against Noah Syndergaard in that ball game. Clay Buchholz was really good, gave up the 1 run, a solo homer by Ahmed Rosario.
Memorial Day weekend in Oakland. D-backs look to make it 2 straight wins over the A's. First pitch is next on Fox Sports Arizona.
D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. By Gila River Hotels and Casinos. The card by Gila River Casinos earns you rewards 10 times faster than ever before. Sign up for the card today. By Carl's Jr. The Memphis Barbecue Thick Burger is back at Carl's Jr. for a limited time. Go on and pick it up. And by your Valley Honda dealer, where you'll get more standard features for less money. Restaurant and Brew House. Visit bjsrestaurants.com to find a location near you. And by Jack in the Box. This season, D-backs home runs score free Jumbo Jacks only at Jack in the Box.
Saturday at the Oakland Coliseum. D-backs first trip here since July of 2011. A win last night, back early today. Cloudy 61, pretty comfortable here inside the ballpark. And welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthew, Bob Brenly, Todd Walsh with you. Memorial Day weekend for Torey Lovullo and the gang. A different look to the lineup. We talked about that just a moment ago. And here is the starting lineup. It's presented by your Valley Chevy dealers.
David Peralta is the constant at the top of the order. He'll lead it off out in left field. Paul Goldschmidt DHing, batting second. Jake Lamb will be down at third base. Daniel Descalso filling in for Goldie at first. Ketel Marte will be at second base. Socrates Brito out in right field. Alex Avila doing the catching. Nick Ahmed at shortstop, and Gerard Dyson out in center field. Clay Buchholz, the right-hander, on the mound for the Diamondbacks.
Well, last night, Bob, your mantra was just win, baby, here at the foot of Mount Davis in center field. I wonder, pray tell, what is today's Valley Honda dealers key to the game?
Yeah, sticking with the Al Davis quotes, we're going to have a commitment to excellence starting today.
A's are struggling. They've lost 3 of 4. Oakland 1 game over 500, 4th in the American League West. They're 7.5 games behind division leading Houston. And your Ram truck starting pitcher for the A's today is Daniel Mengden. 25-year-old right-hander pitching very well lately. He's won his last 2 starts. He beat the Red Sox and then the Blue Jays.
He's got a lot going on out there on the mound. Has the Raleigh Fingers mustache, has a big double pump windup that he'll use, very reminiscent of some old style baseball from back in the day. Has a 4-pitch mix, fastball, curveball, slider, changeup. The curveball and changeup, he kind of feels for that pitch early in the game. Whichever one is working, that's the one you'll see more of.
E.D. Marshall Jewelers gives us a look around the diamond at the A's defense today.
Different look for Bob Melvin today. Matt Joyce will get the start in left field. Dustin Fowler in center field. Mark Canha moves over to right field for this afternoon's game. Matt Chapman at third base. Marcus Semien at shortstop. Chad Pinder moves in to play second base today with Matt Olson at first. Bruce Maxwell doing the catching for the right-hander Daniel Mengden.
Ryan Blakeney, our plate umpire, calling the balls and strikes this afternoon. Alfonso Marquez at first base. The crew chief Sam Holbrook is the second base umpire, and Jim Wolf is at third. It's Memorial Day weekend. All major league teams, you may have already noticed, over the next 3 days wearing camouflage caps, jerseys, and socks featuring 5 stars to honor the 5 military service branches, and the umpires are decked out in similar fashion. And baseball donating 100% of the royalties from the sales of Memorial Day weekend apparel to the Folds of Honor Foundation and the Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors, which supports those grieving the loss of a military loved one. So the military very much on the minds of all of us here on this Memorial Day weekend by the Bay.
Nicely done, MLB, to donate 100% of the profits for the sale of the uniforms and other memorabilia for this Memorial Day weekend. Nice job, MLB.
David Peralta steps up and we are set to go. D-backs 7-1 winners here last night, looking for 2 wins in a row. Mengden taking a moment behind the mound. Steps on the rubber and we're ready to get underway here. Peralta, you saw the numbers, 269 and 7 home runs. Not sure I've seen a pitcher start with his feet as wide apart as Mengden does, and then finally gets that thing cranked up and underway.
First pitch.
Guys that had a lot of idiosyncrasies out there on the mound. We used to call Inspector Gadget. And Mengden certainly is an Inspector Gadget out there. He's got a lot going on in his windup. You mentioned that wide stance on the rubber before beginning his delivery.
Chapman, a high hopper at third. Cricket Wireless, something to smile about. How about Goldie last night? It was a terrific night. Doubled and tripled. He drove into. Torrey was telling us before the game today he thought Paul's most impressive swing was a fly ball. In his first at bat of the ball game, he flew out to left to end the first inning. But it kind of looked like the old Goldie last night. That short, quick swing. Bang.
Short, quick, and choppy.
Jumps on that one from Mengden. It's 0-1. Goldie batting second tonight. It's the first time in just over 5 years he's hitting anywhere in the lineup other than third or fourth. He may be here a while today with Mengden. But he throws strikes. This guy just does not walk anybody. He's worked nearly 60 innings this year and given up only 6 bases on balls. So he's around the strike zone all day. It takes him a while to get it there, but when he does, it's usually in the zone.
Averaging less than a walk per 9 innings. That's the second lowest in the American League. Only Bartolo Colon has a lower percentage.
Goldie down 0-2. Mengden is not a strikeout pitcher either. He's looking for weak contact generated with a changeup that nobody really seems to square up. And he's got a really slow curveball, about 20 miles per hour slower than his fastball. And that's just about the biggest fastball curveball velocity differential in the major leagues.
Well, and you saw in the pitch before to Goldie, 95 on a fastball just off the outside corner. It's not like he's a soft tosser, but he really does take a lot off that curveball and relies heavily on the straight changeup.
2-2. Excuse me, check swing bouncer to Pinder at second base. 2 outs. That's a classic Mengden out right there. That'll bring up Jake Lamb batting third today.
Batting in the third position, third baseman.
Jake looked terrific here last night. Couple of hits. He doubled. He walked twice.
Yeah, Jake, real good rhythm, real good timing up at the plate right now. We talked about it last night. He's not swinging at bad pitches, has really narrowed his strike zone since coming back off the disabled list.
A's have the defensive overshift against him. 93 inside, and it's 0-1. Jake was saying after last night, you know, putting up those early runs really helped everybody get the confidence back. You could sort of feel that here last night. Nick Ahmed homered, 2 batters into the game. 2 runs in the second, 3 more in the fourth. D-backs never looked back.
You know, I think it gets back to that phrase that Torrey has about playing downhill baseball. You know, you get some runs early in the game, suddenly everybody has a little more confidence. They feel a little better about their swings, and it just starts to multiply. Up and down the lineup, everybody feels good about their at-bats, and then you're playing downhill baseball.
Mengden kind of reminds you of some of those Japanese pitchers that we often see that, you know, have that 2 or 3 step hitch in their delivery.
Kind of come at you in stages.
Yeah. On a foul ground here, but that one reaches the seats. Daniel Mengden went to high school in Houston. He's a Texas A&M Aggie, drafted on a college station by his hometown Astros, a 4th rounder 4 years ago. He went to Oakland at the trade deadline 1 year after that, part of a deal for pitcher Scott Casper. 1-2 on Jake Lamb. Oh, Olsen at first base goes up and takes a double away from Lamb. Mengden a scoreless first. Clay Buchholz coming up. This afternoon is Clay Buchholz. Very effective in his D-backs debut Sunday against the Mets in New York. Gave up just 2 hits in 5 innings. He said it was fun getting back out there.
Yeah, it was working at a much quicker pace than we're used to seeing from Clay Buchholz. He was one of the slowest pitchers in the American League, but seemed to be trying to increase his tempo in that start against the Mets.
D-backs will put the defensive overshift on against the leadoff man Matt Joyce, the left fielder for the A's today. Joyce batting .210. He's got 5 homers. Flying out as a pinch hitter against Yoshi Hirano last night. pitch is launched deep to right field and gone. Matt Joyce is sixth and one batter in. It's 1-0 Oakland. Clay Buchholz gave up a home run to Ahmed Rosario on the last batter he faced in New York Sunday. And Joyce, the first guy he faces in Oakland on Saturday, takes him deep.
Tried to just jump ahead with a first pitch fastball. Matt Joyce would have nothing to do with it. Just clobbers that ball to right field. We mentioned it last night. The ball carries a lot better here at the Coliseum during day games. Temperature in the low 60s as we got underway today, and that one really carried a long way.
Marcus Semien, the shortstop. .269, 5 homers. Semien hitless last night. He walked and struck out twice. This is carved down to right field for Brito. And Socrates runs it down near the line. Here's the A's lineup. It's presented by your Valley Chevy dealers.
Matt Joyce led it off. He's the left fielder. Marcus Semien, the shortstop, just flied out to right field. Jed Lowry will serve as the designated hitter today. Matt Olson at first base. Matt Chapman at third base. Mark Canha out in right field this afternoon. Dustin Fowler in center. Chad Pinder moves from left field to second base today, with Bruce Maxwell doing the catching for the right-hander Daniel Mengden.
Here's Lowry at DH. He was in there at second base last night, 1 for 4 with a single. Interesting thing about Clay Buchholz's start Sunday, he's always been a guy who, after more than a decade in the big leagues, has worked really slow, painfully slow at times. But that kind of changed this year. He spent 5 starts in the minor leagues earlier this season, where they have a pitch clock, remember. He admitted that helped him get on the rubber quicker and speed things up a bit. Seemed to help him Sunday in New York. Here's the D-backs defense. E.D. Marshall Jewelers gives us that.
David Peralta in left field. Gerard Dyson out in center. Socrates Brito's already been in action out there in right field to be Jake Lamb and Nick Ahmed on the left side of the infield. Ketel Marte and Daniel Descalso on the right side this afternoon, with Alex Avila doing the catching for right-hander Clay Buchholz.
The corner Matts are back-to-back in the A's lineup today. This is Matt Olson, the first baseman. Third baseman Matt Chapman is the on-deck hitter. D-backs have the shift on. There's the strike 0-1. Olson 243, 7 homers. He had a good night last night. He singled, doubled, and walked. Trying to figure out who he resembles with that batting stance, and our man Bo came up with a good one yesterday. I think it's correct. Hideki Matsui.
Oh yeah.
From the right-hand side, Matsui, of course, but he sort of held the bat out there like that with his arms about belt high or so. 0-2.
And we talked about it last night for Olson. He does hold that bat out over the inside part of the plate, but as the pitch is being delivered, he gets it back there behind that left shoulder.
Buchholz gets a strikeout, but Matt Joyce, his 9th career leadoff homer, makes it 1-0 Oakland.
Hey fans, ABC
Oakland the early lead. Fans Game of Thrones night is back at Chase Field July 7th. You can get a lower level game ticket and this exclusive Ice Dragon bobblehead for just $50 with a special event ticket package. Limited quantities available. Go to dbacks.com/GOT Game of Thrones.
Good to see the Ice Dragon finally getting some recognition with its own bobblehead.
See, I'm not going to go there with you. I know you're just trying to push my buttons. It's all right. I respect that. Send a Raven, get your tickets, and Valardo Hotters. Daniel Descalso leads off the second. There's a strike over one. You still got time to, before the final season to get on board.
I probably will.
Super sincere.
Got too many things to watch already. I'm way behind. You've been giving me all these great suggestions.
Yeah, you're really following my advice too.
Up to a point, once you cross over into science fiction, you leave me right there.
Yeah, I know. More weak contact generated by Mengden as Sibian throws out to Scalzo. He's already got 3 ground ball outs.
Batting fifth.
I gave you the Borg McEnroe movie. That's not science fiction unless you count McEnroe. He's a little out there.
He's a little out there.
Ketel Marte.
Brockmeyer. I still have to catch up on that one. You gave me a Larry David suggestion today. I'm way behind.
These are all right in your wheelhouse too. Good to see Marte back in there today. We're a little concerned after he left last night's ball game following that RBI triple. He was 1 for 5. Looked like he banged his hand up a bit, sliding headfirst into third, but he seems to be okay. Along the line in left, headed for the seats and out of play. This was Marte last night in the 9th inning.
Nice piece of hitting. Got a fastball up and out over the plate. Stayed right on into that gap in left center. The ball actually got stuck under the fence a little bit, allowing Marte to turn second and head onto third base. And right there, you mentioned he kind of jammed his hand into the base with that hard slide.
Devin Marrero came out, played second base in the bottom of the 9th inning, but Ketel back in there today, no problem. 0-2. This is slicing out to deep left center field. Fowler has it. 5 up, 5 down for Mengden. Socrates Brito.
Right fielder.
0 for 3 in his first game this year. That was Wednesday in Milwaukee. 323, couple of home runs at AAA Reno when he was called up after Steven Souza Jr. went back on the DL. Steven is here with the team. And Brito knocks one into right center field. He's got his first hit this year. A 2-out single.
A lot of early swinging from the Diamondbacks already in this ball game. We mentioned Daniel Mengden, big time strike thrower. He's always around the plate.
Batting in the 7th position.
I would expect the Diamondbacks to be very aggressive against him early in the count.
Yeah, Mengden had been working on 4 straight 0-2 counts before that Brito base hit. Here's Alex Avila. Hayes put the shift on the left-hand side. Right-hand side, pardon.
I didn't think it was possible, but Mengden has even more going on out of the stretch than he does out of his windup.
This guy's a mechanical nightmare. And Mengden, he can throw it hard. We've seen that. But it's not a fastball that has a lot of movement to it. His sinker doesn't really sink. It's actually more of a fly ball pitch for him. But what he does have is a nice hard slider and that slow curveball with some sharp movement to it. But the fastballs, when he throws them, they're pretty straight. They can get hit hard. Canna in right field. Bottom 2 at the Oakland Coliseum. D-backs trail the A's 1-0. Trail it early 1-0. Fans, this summer the World Cup is coming to Fox and FS1. Every match live, over 300 hours of coverage. The world's biggest sporting event begins June 14th on Fox and FS1. Big Champions League final today. I know you're watching that closely.
I'm taping it, yeah.
Matt Chapman, the third baseman, leads off the Oakland second. Pops up the first pitch. Avila gives it a look. It's behind the screen, out of play.
We talked about the incredible amount of foul territory here at the Coliseum. Not so much directly behind home plate. I would say that's a fair amount of ground behind home plate, but you start working your way down that first and third baseline, you could plant a cornfield in foul territory.
Yeah, this place is kind of shaped like a football field. Baseball field kind of goes sideline to sideline. From home plate out to center. That's foul by Matt Williams, coaching at third.
I would imagine most baseball fans, if you follow the Oakland A's or if you follow baseball and happen to switch it onto an A's game after football season starts, this kind of turns into a dirt field.
Got those white lines all over it. The greatness of the Raiders.
Just win, baby. Been to a Raiders game?
I'm waiting to hear from my parole officer about that. The great Bill King, holy Toledo, the longtime voice of the A's and the Raiders here in the Bay Area. Honored here. The Holy Roller play, one of the great plays in NFL history, and Holy Toledo was Bill King's signature call. Remember Dave Casper just kicking the ball into the end zone and falling on it? Full count, 3-2. Popped up. Second base for Ketel Marte. It's a light sky up there, a lot of cloud cover overhead. Here's Mark Canna.
Batting sixth, right fielder, number 20, Mark Canna.
Didn't you?
I wonder if anybody else in Major League Baseball history has ever used Bob Dylan as their walk-up song.
That's my jam. I think that's great. I told you last night that Canna was in right field today. Took a course when he was at Cal Berkeley on the music of Bob Dylan, and now uses it as his walk-up music. It's definitely a different vibe.
Yeah, no question about it. And everybody's walk-up music means something to them. Some guys want to get their heart beat up, so they have some loud rock and roll or hip-hop. Other guys try to be a little more calm and under control. Their music reflects that.
A lot of guys use country music.
Yep.
Goldie's had the same country song for forever since he's been here. Buchholz throwing strikes. He's ahead 1-2. You never got to have walk-up music.
No.
They didn't invent that back in your day.
I probably would have been a lot better hitter if I'd have had walk-up music.
Got the drums going here throughout the ball game at the Oakland Coliseum.
Lovely.
It adds, at least it provides some atmosphere. It's something other than a concrete slab. Buchholz works up in the zone and gets the strikeout, his second of the ball game.
You know, one thing about the fans here at the Coliseum, very similar to back in the day at Candlestick Park. There may not be a lot of fans, but the people that come out here really want to watch baseball.
I think you're absolutely right. It's a very die-hard group, and they love their athletics.
Oh, yeah.
So they do a great job coming out here to this ballpark, which, let's face it, is a little less than inviting. But they're treated very well, and they support their team.
I think you really hit the nail on the head last night when you described it as a concrete dumpster.
It's, I tell you, here's Fowler, the center fielder. This was my last ballpark. I've now checked off all 30. For whatever reason, I have never made it out here. We played the AL West a few years ago. We didn't come here. But when you walk around the bowels of this place, you see some horrible things. It's amazing. It's still standing.
They don't belong. What's that doing here?
There's wires coming out of the roof, and there's exercise equipment stacked up in the hallway, and it has its own very unique smell. It's just awful. But it's, as they say here, hey, it's ours.
It's ours.
That's what they say. So good for them. It may be a dump, but it's our dump.
It's our dump.
At least for the moment.
Yeah, that's the same way the fans at Candlestick Park felt. You know, we wouldn't get a lot of fans out there, especially for a night game during the week against a non-Western Division opponent. But boy, the people that did come out, they wanted to be there. They wanted their team to win. They were as loyal as you can possibly imagine any fan being.
Yeah, A's fans do a tremendous job. They really do.
Yeah, lone D-backs hat right there in the middle of all that gold and green.
Popped up to shortstop. Peralta will come in and play it in shallow left field. And Buchholz has retired all 6 he's faced since Joyce's leadoff homer. D-backs down 1-0.
in his career that Jose Canseco was ever accused of using his head. Bounces a drive to right field off his head out of the ballpark. That was Carlos Martinez that hit that ball, the father of Cardinals first baseman Carlos Martinez Jr.
25 years ago today, former A's great Jose Canseco, then of course a Texas Ranger. Seems like only yesterday made that literally what you could call a bonehead play. Nick Ahmed leads off the third against Daniel Mengden, who has thrown 22 pitches in the ball game, 18 for strikes. Ahmed can't check 0-1.
Not quite the same swing he took last night. Second batter of the ball game got a pitch out over the plate and down and golfed it out of here to left center field. Good start for the D-backs offense last night.
That one against the left-hander Sean Manaea. Nick trying to dunk one into right center, but Fowler runs it down and then drops it. Dustin Fowler had a long way to go, almost was able to corral that one, but Ahmed's aboard to start the third.
He had a ways to go to get to it, but I'm sure he'll tell you should have caught this ball. I mean, that's shoulder high, in and out of that big outfielder's glove, drops harmlessly to the ground there in right center field. Nick Ahmed on to lead it off.
They're going to put an error on the board. E8. Charge to the center fielder Fowler. Dyson bats ninth, playing center. Singled and scored a run last night.
Make it hurt.
Chops up the bunt attempt. Mengden gets on it. They just do get Dyson at first as Ahmed moves up.
Yeah, it's funny. We say it all the time. It takes a perfect play to get him. Unfortunately, a lot of teams have been making perfect plays when Dyson tries to bunt.
Remember that play last night that Chapman made?
Oh, yeah. Tremendous play. Well, don't stop. That's a big part of Gerard Dyson's offense, especially with the runner at first base like that. If he legs it out, you've got a great situation. Runners at first and second, nobody out. If they throw him out at first base, at least you have a runner in scoring position for the top of the order.
Peralta grounded out to lead off the ball game. Chopped over the head of Mengden. Simeon comes in from shortstop. 2 down, Ahmed at third. Here's the number 2 man in the order and the DH today, Paul Goldschmidt. Goldie grounded out his first time up. Torey Lovullo is not by nature a reactive person. He's been kind of sitting with this idea for a couple of weeks now, not just hitting Goldie second, which is where all the analytics people say is typically where your best hitter should be. There's all kinds of saber math to support that idea. But for Torey, it's really part of a larger move, and we've seen that here today. Just stacking the best hitters at the top of the lineup. Pile up your best guys there for an offense that has struggled. Get your best hitters as many at bats as you can. And don't worry about balance and length, anything like that. That's what he's trying here. Kind of toyed with the idea for a while now. We'll see how it works out. Ahmed at third and 2 down.
Well, we mentioned last night that Matt Chapman down at third base plays as deep as any third baseman in all of baseball. And with him playing as far behind the bag as he is, Nick Ahmed is getting a huge lead off the bag over there.
There's that big slow curveball. It's a big breaker, low 70s, coming off what is oftentimes a mid-90s fastball. That's just about the biggest difference velocity wise, fastball and curveball in the majors. Goldie's been kind of off balance with those types of breaking balls lately. Now Maxwell will use a mound visit here. With Ahmed at third and 2 outs.
And Bruce Maxwell getting the start behind the plate today. Bob Melvin told me before the game that Jonathan Lucroy has actually worked really well with Daniel Mengden out there on the mound. He's a guy, as I said, a 4-pitch mix, and some days one pitch is working better than the other, and he'll put it in his back pocket for later. Not so sure Bruce Maxwell has a good feel for his right-hander quite yet.
Elevates that fastball. Goldie chases, and Mengden strands the runner at third. It's still 1-0 Oakland. Fans, if you can't watch the D-backs games on TV, stream them live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go. Brought to you locally by your Valley Honda dealers. Download the free app and take Fox Sports Arizona and your D-backs with you wherever you go. Second baseman Chad Pinder leads off the third against Clay Buchholz. Buchholz has set down all six he's faced since the Joyce leadoff homer on Buchholz's first pitch of the day. Pinder, 261, 4 homers. He singled last night. He's at second base this afternoon. He was in left field last night. He's made a handful of starts this year, both at second and third in the infield, but he's primarily played a corner outfield spot, so he's got some defensive versatility for Bob Melvin. Played a bunch of games at shortstop last year.
A little bit like the A's version of Chris Owings.
Yeah.
Just plug in anywhere on the field.
A lot of swing and miss from Pinder. In his last 11 games, he struck out in almost half his at-bats. Catcher Bruce Maxwell on deck. That's going to reach the seats and out of play. Buchholz last week able to work up in the strike zone against the Mets, elevating that fastball and cutter. That should work again today with Ryan Blakeney behind the plate. He tends to call the high strike a lot more often than other umpires. On the ground is shortstop. Nick Ahmed is there. 7 straight set down by Buchholz.
Hey fans, the day after every D-backs win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com. After every D-backs win like last night.
Nice. I know you ate well today.
Why should today be any different than every other day?
There's always a pizza to be found somewhere.
Somewhere.
Just hopefully it's Papa John's. Maxwell only 14 games this year. The backup catcher batting ninth. 195. The A's had a problem with Maxwell earlier this month. He had to miss a 4-game series against the Blue Jays because he was not legally allowed to enter Canada while awaiting sentencing in Arizona on a gun-related charge. He was arrested in Scottsdale in the offseason. Pleaded guilty to disorderly conduct. He is scheduled for sentencing actually very shortly in Maricopa County. So that's a problem for Bob Melvin and the A's. Peralta's in left field. Here's Matt Joyce, the leadoff man. First pitch of the day from Clay Buchholz. Ambush.
Our nationwide vision, eye on the game, no doubt about it for Matt Joyce. Exit velocity just over 103 miles an hour, went an estimated 412 feet to straightaway right field.
His 6th of the year, all coming against right-hand pitchers. Joyce is almost never in there against a lefty. Sat out last night against Patrick Corbin. D-backs overload the right-hand side. Jumps on the first one again. Dyson got a late break in center. And Clay Buchholz has got it rolling. 9 straight since the Joyce homer. But the D-backs trail at 1-0.
Lamb, I believe, comes to the plate. And guys, I don't know if you caught the tail end of Diamondbacks Live, the pregame show, and Steve taking when you needed here, but we did have a chance to have a brief conversation with General Manager Mike Hazen, who is here with the team on this portion of the trip. It is not uncommon to see the General Manager around the team, of course, but as he said yesterday and then again today, that he was here with a purpose, that this team wins together and loses together, but also here to just make sure that the process is still going as they want it to go. Still has faith, of course, in the coaching staff and the players and this group that they've put together. There's a foul ball that I think will get out of play. But I remember talking to him last year in Philadelphia. I believe it was the first time I saw him out on the road, and he was just talking about, look, I have to pick and choose the spots that I want to be around. I know that I'm the general manager, I'm the boss, and Torey Lovullo was talking about it earlier today, that they communicated before his arrival. But Steve, I will share this with you. I actually threw some advanced analytics at him. Shocking as it may be.
He can handle it, I'm sure.
Well,
what you have for him?
Well, let me see if I can work my way through this with you here. I have a theory.
Uh-oh. Trying to hit it through the shift. But they won't get there. Here's Pinder, smothers it, the second baseman in front of the shortstop Simeon out there. And Lamb is retired to open up the fourth.
Very quickly, my theory is, and I've employed this for many, many years in watching baseball, if your team's around first place at Memorial Day, then the 4th of July and Labor Day, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, throughout all of this, they still only fell a half game out of the division lead, which is an excellent point.
And we're at Memorial Day.
You were right. That was very advanced.
It's deeper than you think.
Using the analytic calendar, as it were. Daniel Descalso. I thought you were going to drop a BAPIP or FIP or XFIP or something.
You'll never hear that. He actually bid on it, though. He said, you know what, sometimes you have to remove yourself from those things and look at some of the broader pictures there.
Pinder again at second.
And my general takeaway, and I do mean this, it's really good to talk to him. And I know that he doesn't like to do a lot of things in terms of the media and being on camera. He doesn't want to be in front of this, but when he is, I think he's spectacular in the way that he handles it and approaches it and brings it back to us here.
Does a terrific job, and it's good to have his presence here just to let everybody know that we're still with you. Good times and bad. There's Ketel Marte.
And I like it if you're rolling on Arbor Day, whenever that is.
That's always a big landmark checkpoint for me.
I hope that's in season, I think.
Well, it should be pointed out that you don't need to wait until Arbor Day to hug a tree.
Thank you. See? This is really deep stuff.
What's happening here? What have you done with Bob Brenly?
It's about route efficiency.
Tell you what, this Mengden dude, all he does is throw strikes. He's just pounding the strike zone. He's had a lot of quick innings, a 13-pitch first, a 9-pitch second, an 8-pitch third.
But as you said earlier, just not a lot of solid contact. Balls being put in play weakly right at defenders, which is exactly what Mengden's looking for.
He gets away with it. It's unbelievable. You see why he never walks anybody. He's only walked 6 guys all year. And he'll get the occasional swing and miss. We're in Oakland Coliseum. D-backs trail the A's 1-0. On play Buckholz today, brought to you by AARP. Simeon leads off the Oakland fourth.
Advantage Buckholz.
Of course, Buckholz have pitched forever in the American League with the Red Sox, so he's seen these A's once or twice before. By the way, I can report, and we're still trying to confirm this, Arbor Day, April 27th. So we missed it.
It's come and gone.
I'll send you an Arbor Day card next year.
Our nationwide vision eye on the game. Marcus Simeon with a slicing line drive out to right field. Socrates Brito covering 27.3 feet per second pursuing that ball. All I know is he covered a lot of ground.
Socrates getting the start in right field today. Buchholz, since the leadoff homer, has retired all 9 he's faced. And a lot like Mengden, Clay has been very efficient here this afternoon. 11 pitches in the first inning. 14 in the second and 10 in the third.
You know,
He's
that
out there throwing strikes.
sorry, partner. Yeah, that Matt Joyce home run leading off the ball game for the A's is a reason why a lot of pitchers don't throw first pitch of the game fastball. You get the occasional guy that's looking to ambush that first fastball. Of course, the starting pitcher just wants to settle in out there on the mound, throw a strike to start the game.
Jake Lamb in front of Ahmed at third. One down to start the bottom of the fourth.
Usually all it takes is 1 or 2 leadoff home runs, and that cements the deal. I'm throwing breaking balls first pitch from now on.
Well, Buchholz has been terrific ever since. Here's Lowry, who popped up his first time, the DH today. Lowry's a switch hitter. 9 homers this year, 8 of them coming as a left-hand batter. No shift here for the D-backs against Lowry. If you're using Arbor Day as a checkpoint, our man Bo tells us we were 18-7 after beating Steven Strasburg on Arbor Day. 4 games up atop the NL West. Starting today, half game back behind Colorado. See, the Warriors have a game today, so he's at the top of his game. He's sharp. He was kind of mailing it in last night, you know, like usual.
Most nights.
But today, Golden State plays Houston, game 6 in the parking lot here. He's ready.
He's kind of using this as batting practice to get ready for the basketball game.
That's coming at you, BB.
Oh, not quite.
Just missed. Yeah, the question is, if Golden State loses tonight, they get eliminated. Will Bo make it tomorrow?
That's a real good question.
That's what you get for showing up like 2 minutes before the game. So don't look at me like that. Still 0-2. We like the kid Bo. He's our guy here in San Francisco for Giants games. We got him for Oakland this weekend as well. Does a terrific job. And we get his dad when we're in Houston. It's all in the family. One missed away. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Jed Lowry. Both these guys former Boston Red Sox, Buchholz and Lowry. Lowry drafted first round out of Stanford by Boston back in 2005. Came up as a shortstop for the Red Sox.
It's one of the longer at bats of the game here.
Yeah.
Lowry getting to a 2-2 count, fouled that pitch off.
Matt Olson, the first baseman, on deck. Buchholz has not walked a batter today. He's got 2 strikeouts. Pitch number 8. Don't they get back coming up? Full count on Lowry, 3-2. Fly ball right center. Brito and Dyson. Sherrod's got it. 11 straight set down by Clay Buchholz.
Now batting first baseman, 28.
Buchholz got on a roll like this against the Mets over the weekend before he gave up that Rosario homer, the last batter he faced to start the 6th inning. He had retired 10 straight and 13 of 14. And so we're seeing very much the same guy here today. That's blasted foul down the line. Olson struck out to end the first. High in the air toward the right field pole, and that one is foul.
Well, if you combine the numbers between AAA Nashville and the major leagues here in Oakland last year, Matt Olson had an unbelievable season.
Didn't he though?
47 home runs combined, 105 runs driven in, hit about 265.
He had 24 home runs here with the A's last year in less than 60 games. He's got some pop.
It's J.D. Martinez like,
isn't it? He's a big dude, 6'5", 230. They feel real good about their corner infielders here. Two guys they can build around. The two Mats, Chapman at third and Olson at first. Olson just turned 24 in March. That one's pulled foul. One thing he does do is strike out a lot too. Olson is 7th in the league in strikeouts. But he is a player to watch after a very encouraging rookie season with the A's last year. Slugged better than .650 in the big leagues last year. High to center for Dyson. Buchholz slowly walking off the mound. He has retired 12 straight athletics, but trails at 1-0. Nothing as Socrates Brito leads off the 5th inning against A's right-hander Daniel Mengden, who was coming off an 8-pitch inning. Mengden 38 pitches in the ball game, 31 for strikes. And there's ball 1 to Brito, who singled. He's got the only D-backs hit. Here's the funny thing about Daniel Mengden in this terrific pitcher's ballpark. He's had no luck here at home at all. 17 career starts at the Coliseum. He's 1-11.
wow,
with an ERA over 5. Figure that out. This is skied along the line in short left field. Joyce and Simeon. It's Matt Joyce, the left fielder.
Yeah, that is odd because this historically has been known as a really good pitcher's park. We talked about the marine layer last night, and once the sun goes down, it's really hard to hit the ball out of this ballpark. Thick infield grass figures to work in a pitcher's favor. It's kind of odd that he hasn't won more here.
Yeah, on the road, career he's 8-4. This season, 1 win in 6 starts here in his home park. Alex Avila, the catcher. Athletics have the shift on. 3 infielders on the right-hand side. Some of that might be run support. The A's offense has really struggled as of late. And Mengden in 4 starts this month has given up a total of only 4 earned runs, and he's been excellent so far here tonight. Kind of reminds you of some of those old-timey windups when he first steps back with that foot and the hands kind of hang over the head for a while. Something like you might see, I don't know, Warren Spahn or Robin Roberts or somebody do. That first step backward, and then he kind of hangs there with a double hitch.
3 toe taps with the right foot before stepping in the hole in front of the rubber.
There.
1, 2, 3.
This is up with a fastball at 94, 1-2. Mengden was outstanding his last time out Sunday at Toronto. 7 scoreless, beat the Blue Jays, gave up only 2 hits. Won a start prior to that, 2 runs in 6 innings, and a win over Boston at Fenway Park. Ryan Blakeney likes the high strike, the low strike not so much. Mengden didn't get the call there, and it's 2-2. Joyce backing up in left field. 2 outs.
If fans of D-backs home run today means a free jumbo jack tomorrow at participating Jack in the Box locations with the purchase of a large drink.
8 straight retired by Mengden. Here's the shortstop Nick Ahmed, who homered here last night.
I think we're going to see some lineup roulette moving forward here for Torey Lovullo until he finds something he feels will be consistently productive offensively. I mean, Nick Ahmed hit second last night. Had a homer, a single, drove in 2, scored 2, and walked. Finds himself hitting in the 8 hole today. But left-handed pitcher last night, right-handed pitcher today.
Chapman at third. Low throw. Olson's got it. Another scoreless inning for Mengden. He leads it 1-0. lead the D-backs 1-0, home half of the fifth here. Fans watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand at home, in the office, or on the go with MLB.tv. It includes MLB at Bat Premium that lets you watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Visit MLB.tv for details. Matt Chapman popped up his first time up, leads off the Oakland fifth against Clay Buchholz, who has retired all 12 batters he's faced since Matt Joyce's leadoff homer, which is the game's only run so far. With Buchholz, if you take his 5 innings against the Mets in New York last weekend and his first 4 innings here today, that's 9 innings as a Diamondback. He's given up only 2 runs on 3 hits.
2 solo homers.
Rosario against the Mets, the last batter he faced, and Joyce today in Oakland, the first batter he faced. So far he has struck out 2. He's not walked a batter. Chapman 0 for 4, a couple of strikeouts last night. He's gone hitless in 5 of his last 6 games, hitting only 190 in May. Full count, 3-2. Canada, the right fielder, on deck. Just the second 3-ball count in the ball game today for Clay Buchholz. We'll keep going.
Just a challenge fastball right there, 91, inner part of the plate. Chapman could only foul it straight back that time.
I remember had that long at bat in the 4th inning. Jed Lowry took it full, fouled off a whole bunch of pitches. Now a full count on Chapman to start the 5th. Center field, Dyson right at him, backing up. He's got it. Here's Canna.
Now batting right fielder, 20, Mark Canna.
Get you. It is a different vibe.
Yeah, music's a big part of baseball when you think about it. You know, we come early every day in batting practice. They have piped in music at the ballpark. And yeah, some teams, we go to LA, it's all hip hop and rap.
Is that what that is?
Well, it's noise.
And straight out of Compton all day here today during batting practice. You never know what you're going to get.
I mean, it's to the point where in the '89 World Series, when the Giants played the A's in the Earthquake Series, we tried to put them to sleep during batting practice over at Candlestick. We had the regular mix, you know, during our batting practice. Lots of rock and roll and country and upbeat stuff. And the A's came out to take batting practice, and it was Carole King, Joni Mitchell,
You're killing me softly.
Paul Simon, all very low key, mellow music, trying to put the A's bats to sleep. It didn't work.
Not so much.
Not so much.
Fastball's there, 2-2 on Mark Canna. Dustin Fowler, the center fielder, on deck. Chopped to short, Ahmed. 14 straight set down by Buchholz, and here's Fowler.
Now batting center fielder, number 11, Dustin Fowler.
Fowler last year had maybe the worst major league debut in history. He was a Yankees draft pick, got called up for the first time at the end of June, and started his first ever game in the big leagues at Chicago against the White Sox in right field. And with 2 outs in the first inning, he blew out his right knee. I mean, that's tough. So he played less than 1 full inning, did not get up to bat, and then the next day had surgery, went on the DL. A month after that, he was traded here. Hang with him. Just foul down the first base line. Fowler was a Yankee pick out of high school in Georgia. Oakland got him at the trade deadline as part of the Sonny Gray deal. Just hit his first big league home run last Friday in Toronto.
Well, it's good to see him back in the major leagues, period. I don't care who he's playing for, what he went through, that horrific injury in Chicago.
I mean, that's just, oh, it's awful. Fastball missed, 2-2 on Dustin Fowler. Chad Pinder at second base today would be next. That's belted foul down the right field line. There's all kinds of stuff going on here along the sidelines, as it were, where the seats are. You got bullpen mounds, and there's kind of a hovel in there for the relief pitchers, and then you've got seats that kind of jut out into foul ground, and dugouts, all kinds of stuff you can run into.
Yeah, this is one of the odder stadiums for a lot of different reasons, but you think about the clubhouses. I saw a couple of the Diamondbacks players go up the walkway. You have to actually walk through the crowd to get to the hallway to take you back to the visiting clubhouse.
It's crazy, isn't it? Most pitches of any inning for Buchholz, 19 here in the 5th. Tyson again in center. Matt Joyce hit a leadoff homer. Since then, 15 up and 15 down for Buchholz, who still trails 1-0.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time.
Trails at 1-0 as we start the 6th inning in Oakland. What's next brought to you by CenturyLink. Zach Greinke on the mound here tomorrow. Another 105 start. Trevor Cahill has been pushed back to Monday. Frankie Montas will come up from Nashville and start for the A's. D-backs Live pregame show at 12:30 on Fox Sports Arizona. Gerard Dyson leads off the Arizona sixth. Reaches out and pokes that foul ground third base side. Here they come, and Simeon runs it down. Just shy of the bullpen out there.
This is starting to really get annoying, BB.
All this guy does is throw strikes. You know it's coming. 49 pitches, 39 strikes so far, and yet they can't do a thing with him.
I haven't really seen a hard hit ball. You have to go all the way back to Jake Lamb's line out to first base in the first inning.
David Peralta.
That's the last hard hit ball I can remember.
D-backs have only had 2 base runners all day. Brito a 2-out single in the second. Ahmed reached on an error on a drop ball by Fowler in center field to start the third. And ever since then, Mengden has retired 10 straight. There's Peralta 0 for 2. Does the fact that you know or believe it will almost always be a strike make you more impatient at the plate, maybe?
Yeah, maybe chase pitcher strikes. I mean, there's a difference between a hittable hitter strike in the middle of the plate, preferably elevated, and a pitcher strike on the edges or at the bottom or top of the zone. And so far, Mengden has been able to keep the ball out of the middle and throw pitcher strikes.
Another one fouled off. Chapman going to give chase before he gives up.
Perfect example right there. Fastball at 93, which is a very hittable velocity for most major league hitters, but right on the edge of that inside corner, just above the knees.
And he's been ahead in the count, as you might imagine, with these strikes all day long. His 7th 0-2 count of the ball game today.
Another hittable speed fastball, 93, just off that inside corner, too close to take, but not really a good enough pitch to do much with.
Bruce Maxwell back there today.
Still 0-2 on David Peralta.
One thing that's been really impressive about Mengden today is the sequence of pitches. We saw a fastball on the inside corner 2 pitches ago, then another fastball on the inside corner, and he comes back with a slider right in the same spot that breaks down and in, hoping to get David Peralta to recognize a third fastball on that inside corner and then swing over the top of it. He goes the other way, change up off the outside corner below the knees. Just watch how many pitches you see actually go right down the heart of the plate when the right-hander's out there on the mound.
Goldie, the DH, on deck. 2-2 on Peralta.
Top edge of the strike zone.
Well, the old mantra is work fast, change speeds, throw strikes.
Throw strikes. Ray Miller, longtime pitching coach in Pittsburgh, a few other places, but that was his theory.
He's got 2 and 3 down. Not sure about number 1, the work fast part, but he has been extremely effective.
Quick pitch.
So this is the first 3-ball count the D-backs have had against Daniel Mengden all day long. Full count, 3-2. This is belted out to right field, and that one gets in front of Canna, who's able to knock it down. And Peralta has a 1-out single, just the D-backs' second hit.
There's a hard hit ball for David Peralta. Good grinding at bat that time. Mengden did not make it easy, but ultimately David got a pitch he can handle. Up over the heart of the plate and barrels it to right field. Sinking line drive in front of Mark Canna out there in right.
We thought for a minute that might get behind Canna, like the one that got behind Pinder in left field last night on the Goldie 2-run triple. And here he is, the DH batting second. He's 0 for 2.
David Peralta stole a base in the ball game last night after singling in the 6th inning. Leading off the 6th inning, immediately took off on the very first pitch and stole second without a play.
That was a 9-pitch at bat by Peralta. Mengden has had 3 innings of 9 pitches or fewer today for the whole inning. Drop that in there for strike one. If you're just joining us, a different look to Torey Lovullo's lineup today. Goldie DH in the 2 spot. First time in 5 years that Goldie has been hitting anywhere in the lineup other than 3rd or 4th.
I mentioned he had 1 previous plate appearance in the 2 spot in the lineup. That came as a pinch hitter. Goldie fans everywhere.
Yeah, the last time Goldie was not hitting 3rd or 4th, April of 2013. What do you think about that analytically driven idea that you should put the best hitter in your lineup 2nd in the order? There's all kinds of math that supports the theory. But,
well, if you're going to hit him 2nd, why not hit him 1st?
Yeah, you don't see it a lot over the major leagues. It's still pretty much 3rd, right?
Yeah, if the idea is you want to get your best hitters as many at bats over the course of a ball game and over the course of a season, it seems to make a lot of sense to put them up at the top of the order.
Got fooled a bit on that one. Goldie strikes out for the 2nd time today. It's only the 3rd strikeout for Mengden. He's got Goldie twice.
A little slider on the outside part of the plate. Some indecision on the part of Paul Goldschmidt that time. Well, tardy on a mid-80s slider.
So it's up to Jake Lamb. Hayes will overload the right-hand side. Jake 0 for 2. Coming off a big night here last night. Couple of hits. He doubled, walked twice. Slow curveball for strike one. Jake, since returning from the DL on this road trip, has 5 hits, 3 doubles and a homer. He's also walked 5 times. And had a good night last night against the lefty Minaya. Mengden has faced 21 batters in the ball game, 18 first pitch strikes. He's only thrown 13 balls all day long. Missed with a 1-1 pitch. Talked about timing, guys that miss long stretches, maybe not getting their big league timing back, and that was likely the case with Steven Souza Jr. when Steven was back healthy. Jake Lamb looks, Bob, like he didn't skip a beat.
Yeah, he really does. I've talked about it repeatedly since Jake's come off the disabled list. One of the last things usually to come for an injured player is the knowledge of your own strike zone. What can you handle? What can't you handle? And Jake just hit the ground running. He very rarely swings at bad pitches. And when he gets something in the strike zone he thinks he can drive, he's put a good swing on it.
Descalso, the first baseman and cleanup man today, on deck. Peralta at first, 2 down, 3-1 on Jake Lamb. Over the mound, and they get the force on Peralta at second. 6 scoreless for Mengden. Oakland leads at 1-0.
Photo or video with hashtag Hats Off for Heroes. For each post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans.
Well, a very well-pitched ball game here. The A's' Daniel Mengden has thrown 6 scoreless innings. Clay Buchholz gave up a home run to Matt Joyce on the first pitch he threw today. And since then, Buchholz has set down all 15 batters he's faced. And Chad Pinder, the A's second baseman, leads off the Oakland 6th, and he belts one deep to left center field. It's off the wall. Leadoff double for Pinder.
Another ambush. First pitch fastball right down the middle, knee high, and Pinder jumps all over it. Fortunately, that ball stayed in the ballpark. It looked like it had a home run possibility off the bat. Hits about halfway up that big green wall out there just to the left to straightaway center.
The catcher, number 9 hitter, Bruce Maxwell. Flying out his first time up. Popped it up. Jake Lamb calls off Avila. 1 out. So here is Joyce, the leadoff man. His home run to start it off for Oakland is 6th of the year, and all the scoring so far.
Number 23, Matt Joyce.
Matt Joyce, maybe the most productive season of his career last year in Oakland. Signed a 2-year free agent deal to leave Pittsburgh, at 25 home runs with the A's last year, career high.
And the sun trying to break through here at the Coliseum.
Yeah, for the most part today, the sky's been the same color as the concrete in the ballpark. Some of the cloud cover starting to break up. saw that Buchholz, going back to his start against the Mets last weekend, not afraid to work up in that strike zone. He will elevate the fastball and the cutter. .75 pitches for Clay, 50 strikes. That's a fair ball for Descalso at first. Takes it himself. Pinder moves up. 2 down for Semien.
Big out to get right here in a 1-run ball game. Runner at third base and 2 outs in the inning. This is a guy you really need to bear down on. Showed you the numbers before. Marcus Semien 1 for 9 lifetime. I think it's 1 for 10 now after his last at bat. This is a guy you got to get right here.
Semien hitting .375 with runners in scoring position. Pinder at third and 2 outs. Again, working up in the strike zone. 0-1.
Yeah, cutter right up there at the top of the zone, middle of the plate, but just above the top of the zone.
Buchholz ahead quickly 0-2. Bullpen will get busy for the D-backs. Andrew Chafin and Fernando Salas start to get loose. Considering they picked up Clay Buchholz in a sense off the scrap heap on a minor league deal, you can't ask for much more than he's given them in 2 starts.
He's been outstanding.
Trying to keep it a 1-0 game here. 1-2 on the A's shortstop.
Beat him up and in with a 91-mile-an-hour fastball that time. Very efficient with his pitches today. Only a couple of innings where he was really extended in the 4th and the 5th.
Got him. Clay Buchholz strands that run at third. We'll head to the 7th at the Coliseum. D-backs trail the A's 1-0.
Free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at those participating locations.
Time to get the offense going. Only 2 hits so far against right-hander Daniel Mengden. And Descalso, the cleanup man today, leads off the D-backs 7th. Mengden 66 pitches, 50 strikes. He has been tremendously efficient, and there's another strike 1. Descalso has twice grounded out 0 for 2. Making his first start this year at first base. Goldie is the DH. The only other time Paul Goldschmidt was not in the starting lineup at first was Goldie's scheduled using finger quotes rest day. That was in Washington late last month. Christian Walker started at first. Descalso in there today. Mengden starts it off with a strikeout, his 4th of the ball game.
Breaking ball just underneath the bat of Daniel Descalso right there.
How much credit, Bob, needs to go to some pitching coaches along the road to the minors for not messing with what this guy does out there?
I'm pretty sure somewhere along the line they did mess with him and tell him, hey, you can't pitch like that.
It'll never work.
You know, results. It's all about results. You can do all kinds of unorthodox things out there on the mound or in the batter's box as long as you get the desired result at the end of the day.
Well, you're supposed to throw strikes. 70 pitches, 54 strikes. Chop to first. Olson has it. 2 down in the 7th. Socrates Brito, one of just 2 D-backs hits today. A single in the 2nd. He's 1 for 2.
Now batting.
I mean, I'm sure there were hitting coaches very early on in his career that told Rod Carew, you can't hit with your bat laid flat like that out behind you. You got to get that bat up in a good hitting position.
Probably told Olson the same thing.
Yeah. But I think baseball has become more tolerant of the out of the ordinary. Once again, as long as you get the result.
0-1 on Brito. Yeah, I was watching an old ball game on the computer with Gracie flying back from LA, and everybody had some crazy goofy stance. Oscar Gamble and Carlos May, and everybody did crazy stuff, and then batting stances and swings kind of got homogenized along the way, but maybe they're breaking out from that now.
And that homogenization of swings may have been because of the increased velocity. You didn't have as much time to do some of those crazy things that guys used to do, the big hitches and guys that had their hands split on the barrel of the bat. When Hank Aaron initially signed a professional contract, he was a cross-handed hitter.
We always learned in Little League that's how you could break your wrist doing that.
That's what they always said. And by a cross-handed hitter, if you're a right-handed batter, your right hand is at the bottom of the bat near the knob and your left hand is on top. And then you swing as a right-handed hitter. Well, Hank Aaron hit that way when he initially signed his pro contract.
Somewhere out there was a coach that said, I'm the guy that fixed Hank Aaron.
He fixed him good.
Sure did. I mean, that's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
76 pitches, 60 strikes. Tapper that gets by Mengden. Pinder cleans it up at 2nd, and they get Brito. 7 scoreless for Mengden. He leads it 1-0.
just a second, but Steve and Bob, it was pretty cool to be on the field for the pregame ceremony honoring the Swingin' A's, back-to-back World Series champions in the early to mid 1970s. Had a chance to talk to Bert Campaneris, who helped promote Diamondbacks Live on some of our social media platforms. Had a long conversation with the former designated pinch runner Herb Washington. There's Herb.
We didn't think he was going to run at first when he came out.
Yes. But guys, very quickly, and I'll get to this game and the pitching change that we have here in a second. I did bring some things from Todd's garage purposely on this trip, not knowing this reunion was going to happen, but I wanted to show Bob Melvin some of those early A's teams, a guy that grew up in the Bay Area, manager of the A's, and asking him what it is like to be managing the team that he grew up idolizing. And his answer tomorrow on the pregame show is worth the price of admission.
Lowry gets this in the air to center for Dyson, who's been busy today. The Swingin' A's, world champs in 72, 3-4, honored before the game today. You saw the numbers on Jorge De La Rosa. They had all the big boys here. They had Sal Bando and Joe Rudy, Vida Blue. There was an impressive list.
Darryl Knowles. Can't leave Darryl Knowles.
Some less than spectacular names were there.
Pitched in 7 games in one World Series.
And they had Charlie O, the mule, down there.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, they did the whole thing today. You played with Vida Blue.
Yeah,
right?
I played with Vida Blue towards the tail end of his career. I've said it many times. He was the best athlete I ever played with.
Wow. How about that?
Obviously, this is the days before YouTube and cell phone cameras, but there's stories out there that Vida Blue threw a football 80 yards in the air as a high school player. He took up golf, and by the end of a year, he was a single-digit handicapper. Well recorded what he did on the baseball field. Just a tremendous athlete. Might have been the best hitter we had on some of our teams in San Francisco.
And the thing I remember as a younger person was watching him pitch with his first name on the back of his shirt. That was the coolest thing I'd ever seen as a kid. Vida, number 14. How'd he get away with that?
I don't know.
20 wins.
Yeah, that'll do it.
It's a good answer.
Well, Charlie Finley tried to get him to change his name to True. I don't think so.
There was Blue Moon Odom. Yeah. Was he here today?
Yeah,
I think he was.
So,
yeah.
yep.
Ken Holtzman.
Yep.
Gene Tennis was here. Boy, those were really good teams. And watching the documentaries that were done about those teams, they fought with each other all the time.
Yes, they did.
They were breaking up fights in there every other day. And the only thing they seemed to have in common was they all hated Charlie Finley.
And you know what else? For me, and Steve, you and I are pretty close to the same age, I think. The A's, for me, were the first villain that I remember growing up, because they were so good and they kept knocking down teams that I was rooting for. They were so good, and you know, back then I always loved having a villain to root against. And it was your crew that knocked them out, right?
75.
That's right.
ALCS, the Red Sox, yeah. And by then, and then of course Catfish Hunter became a free agent, which was a whole new deal. This is hit deep to center. Dyson is not going to get that one. Matt Olson, that's number 8, and it's 2-0 Oakland. Well, we talked about his power last year, 24 homers in fewer than 60 games. And he takes De La Rosa out of here with 1 out of the 7th.
A center cut fastball that time for Olson. He stays right on it, hits it to the opposite field. You mentioned big time pop from this guy to all parts of the ballpark. If Gerard Dyson can't catch it, it's out of here.
And here's the other corner, Matt Chapman, the third baseman. What was interesting about that Olson homer, his first this year against a left-hand pitcher. All 7 of his previous homers had come against right-handers. .415 feet, 109 miles an hour off the bat of Matt Olson. 0-2 on Chapman. I'm amazed that Todd is able to find stuff in that garage. Went and found his old A's baseball cards.
You know how it is. You know, it's your mess. You know where everything is.
I'm sure he's got a very complex cataloging system. Everything works around the big ball of string.
Second largest ball of string in the world.
West of the Mississippi. 2-2. You know it's in there, right? Got it.
We've been talking a lot about Matt Chapman in this series. Matt Williams, who for my money was the best third baseman I ever saw, says that Chapman has a chance to be the best of all time defensively down there at third base. And part of the reason is, as a pitcher at Cal State Fullerton, he could throw 100 miles an hour. And it helps to have that kind of arm over there at the hot corner.
I would think. Mentioned yesterday that Chapman played at the same high school as Nolan Arenado, which is El Toro High School in Lake Forest, California.
Well, whoever the infield instructor is at El Toro, he ought to be recruited by a major league team.
Or he's out there teaching driver's ed or something. Full count, 3-2. Poke to second for Marte. Here's Canna, who has struck out and grounded out 0 for 2. D-backs in the 8th inning will have the lower third of the order due up. Avila, Ahmed, and Dyson, 7, 8, 9. Canna homered for the A's only run here last night, which snapped a streak of 7 straight home games without a home run that had tied an Oakland record. But now they've homered in back-to-back games here at the Coliseum. 2 homers today. Joyce in the 1st and Olsen in the 7th. Oakland only has 3 hits. 2 of them are solo homers. Got to be careful with Canna. He's about a .320 hitter versus lefties. Today's game right along course with what the A's have been doing offensively. They have struggled in their home park. They've scored 2 runs or fewer in 8 of their last 9 home games. And over that stretch, they're hitting only 170. Just 3 hits today, but they lead it 2-0. Last night, just 1 run, 5 hits. 2-2. Fowler, the center fielder, would be next.
And Fernando Salas just kind of standing down on the mound down the right field line. Righties and lefties staggered in the lineup. Got a left-handed hitter on deck and Dustin Fowler, followed by a right-hander and then another lefty in the 9 spot. Salas just kind of waiting to see how this inning progresses. He's ready to go.
3-2. He lost him. 2-out walk for Canna. First base on balls issued by either side today. And here's the center fielder Fowler.
Center fielder.
Partner, I was down in Bob Melvin's office before the ball game today, and we speculated after the game last night that they might have to make some roster moves because their bullpen has been so dinged up, and they did make a couple of moves. Chris Bassett and Carlos Ramirez called up from the minor leagues. Unfortunately, when their plane landed over at the Oakland airport, the car that was sent to pick them up got in an accident.
Come on.
So Mickey Morabito, the longtime traveling secretary here for the A's, came in Mel's office and said, yeah, they're here, but the car that went to pick them up was in a wreck. The police are there. They're going to try to sort it all out, but they will be here in time for the game.
At least for the end of the game.
Well, they're relief pitchers. That's when you need them.
Yeah, exactly. So what's the problem? Talk about your good news, bad news.
Wow.
0-1 on Fowler. He's only had a couple of plate appearances against lefties this year. That's such an A's thing to happen, isn't it?
Yeah, when I hear stuff like that, I don't miss managing. You get that call from the traveling secretary at 4 o'clock in the morning, and it's not going to be good news.
Yeah, Bob, sorry to wake you up. We got a problem with Johnson.
Yeah, your backup catcher's in jail. Oh, what? Huh?
Oh, wait, that actually happened to Mel.
Well, it happened to me, too.
Oh, did it? Wait. Talk about burying the lead. Do go on.
Well, it'll, you know.
Not so much. Names are changed to protect the innocent.
Yeah. This is the advice of my attorney.
This is like a dragnet or something. The advice of my attorney. 0-2. Popped up. Here comes Lamb from third. Matt Olson's 8th of the year makes it 2-0 A's as we hit the 8th at the Coliseum. It out there with a 2-0 lead to start the 8th inning as Alex Avila leads it off for the D-backs. Stay cool for Memorial Day inside air-conditioned Chase Field. D-backs and Reds 1 o'clock on Monday. First 20,000 fans get the D-backs camo cap courtesy of Sanderson Ford. Get your tickets at dbacks.com. Going to be good to get home on Monday. It's been a long road trip through New York, Milwaukee, now Oakland, crisscrossing the country.
With a couple of off days scattered in.
Zach Greinke's on the mound in the road trip and series finale tomorrow afternoon. Stephen Piscotty takes over for Canna in right field. Now the A's are moving their defenders around in the shift. Here's Zach. 1-1 on Avila. D-backs with only 2 hits. Brito a single in the second. Peralta a single in the 6th. Mengden coming off an 11-pitch 7th inning, all 11 pitches for strikes. In the ball game, 80 pitches, 62 strikes. A rare miss there. It's 3-1. Need a base runner. Ahmed on deck.
Change up in a fastball count. That one started off the plate inside and then tailed back to the inside part of the plate for a called strike.
Full count, 3-2.
Looking. Another change up.
Into the shift.
That was Marcus Semien, the shortstop, out in shallow right field, I think.
Yeah, they've been putting him out there all day long. One of those teams that runs the shortstop way over there, playing almost near the line. That way the second baseman kind of stays put. So does the third baseman. There's Nick Ahmed. He reached on an error when Fowler dropped the ball in center field. He grounded out his last time up.
Partner, I'd be anxious to talk to Paul Goldschmidt and see how he feels about DHing. He's been standing over there in front of that first base dugout, practicing his swing, watching the pitcher out there on the mound, practicing his swing again. But when you're not used to DHing, you don't really know what to do with your time between at bats.
I bet.
Some guys will go up to the batting cage and hit some balls off the tee, or have somebody throw some toss to them. Other guys will go ride the bike, anything just to try to stay loose, try to stay in the flow of the game, but not easy to do when you're used to playing both sides of the ball.
I'm not sure also they have those things here in Oakland.
I think the cage is out in center field.
It might be. It's funny, we talked with Todd about how they introduced the great A's teams of the 70s, the swinging A's, before the game today. They had them walk out from dead center field 400 feet away and go out in front of the pitcher's mound. And it took a while for some of those guys to walk all the way out there. Even Herb Washington took his time. The pinch runner, 2-2 on Nick Ahmed. Trying to get down, Fowler coming in, and he makes a tremendous diving catch. Dustin Fowler in center takes a base hit away from Nick Ahmed. The guy that dropped the ball earlier in the ball game.
Yeah, routine play. I guess it was too routine for Fowler. Makes a nice catch right here. Bob Melvin told me that he's a guy that when he's not in the starting lineup will usually find his way into the game as a defensive replacement late.
Both plays made against Nick Ahmed, by the way. The drop ball in the third for the error, E8, and that terrific catch here. With 2 outs in the gate, that brings up Dyson, who's 0 for 1.
Herb Washington participated in 105 games for the Oakland A's. Did not have an at-bat.
Zero. Now, that was a Charlie Finley concoction, right?
Yeah, a designated runner.
Yeah.
He scored 33 runs, stole 31 bases, and did not have an at-bat.
I remember it said that on his baseball card. He might be the only guy ever with a baseball card that said designated runner or pinch runner.
Yeah.
Charlie Finley had a lot of ideas.
Well, and with those teams back in the early 70s with the A's, I mean, they had a set lineup. They were going to run the same 8 defenders out there every day, pretty much.
Billy North and all those guys,
Yeah.
Bando, Rudy, Tennis, you name it.
So you could afford to carry a guy who was just a pinch runner, designated runner.
It's an interesting little slice of baseball history right there. Popped up behind second. Simeon is under it. Boy, Mengden has been tremendous here today. 8 scoreless innings. D-backs trail at 2-0.
Justin Fowler in that last inning. Nick Ahmed with a little dying pop-up out into shallow right center, and Fowler is off like a shot. Covered 52 feet. Catch probability of 65%. He turns it into 100% probability with that play.
That seems a little high, doesn't it? 65% of those catches or those balls are caught. Who's to say?
Let's hit 100 out there and see if we catch 65.
Run Todd Walsh out there before the game. Pinder belts one deep left center, and that's gone. Chad Pinder is 5th, and it's 3-0 A's off Fernando Salas. Three solo homers for Oakland. They lead it 3-0.
Pitch elevated over the heart of the plate. Hitting coaches call that a fence high fastball. All you need to do is make contact, and it's probably going to do some damage. That one bangs off the wall behind the 388 mark.
We talked about how the ball travels much better here during the daytime than it does at night. This is a team that has not hit home runs in its own ballpark this year. The A's before today had played 24 home games and homered here only 15 times, but they've hit 3 solo shots this afternoon. Numbers on Salas, those have changed. Here's Maxwell, the number 9 hitter, the backup catcher. Closer break, Blake Trinan is warming up down there along the left field line in the A's bullpen. Broken bat. Here comes Peralta. David gets there.
Go.
Numbers on Pinder, 424 feet on the homer. And here's Joyce, who hit the first pitch of the ball game from Clay Buchholz, out for a home run. Joyce in the first, Olson in the seventh, and Pinder in the eighth. All the scoring so far, 3 solo homers. They've got Trinan, their closer, getting loose. Mengden has retired 8 straight and 18 of the last 19. He's now gone 16 consecutive scoreless innings dating back to his previous start. So we'll see what happens in the 9th inning with Bob Milford.
Yeah, sitting on 93 pitches right now, not an inordinate amount of pitches. You could certainly send him back out there to start the 9th, and if he gets jammed up, then maybe you go to your closer. We'll see how Mel plays.
Now with a 2-strike count, Jake Lamb jogs over from third. Stands in front of second base umpire Sam Holbrook, and Ahmed slides over to shortstop.
Now, Mengden has gone over the 100 pitch mark 3 times this season, a high of 106 earlier this year against the White Sox.
Descalso at first. Yeah, Ahmed led off the third with that drop ball by Fowler in center. And then Peralta had a 1-out single in the 6th inning. Those have been the only 2 D-backs base runners since the end of the 2nd. So you don't have much cause to take him out unless you think he's gassed. Trying and still warming up down there. Here's Simeon 0 for 3. Shallow center, Dyson, long run, and he won't get there. It drops in. Simeon hustles into second, a stand-up double.
Now, sometimes you have to be able to hear contact to get a good jump on the ball. That time Dyson just hesitated ever so slightly on a full swing from Simeon. He broke his bat. The ball just dies in front. Dyson trying to smother it right there and keep it in front, but it gets behind him. Fortunately, Socrates Brito hustled over from right field to back the play up.
Mike Butcher to the mound as T.J. McFarland starts warming up down there. Bullpen is busy for the D-backs. A's 3 runs, 5 hits. D-backs no runs, 2 hits. And the batter's the switch hitter Jed Lowry, the DH today, 0 for 3. A run is in on the Pinder homer. Simeon at second and 2 outs. Ahmed, the shortstop, playing behind the runner. D-backs do not shift against Lowry, who sends it the other way. Pretty deep left field. Peralta has got it on the warning track. But the A's add a run. We hit the 9th at the Coliseum. D-backs down 3-0. River game summary. The Swing It A's are back. They've swung for 3 solo shots. 3 solo homers, all the scoring so far. Mengden back out there for the 9th as Peralta leads it off.
A's have 1 complete game this season. Sean Manaea's no-hitter earlier this season against the Boston Red Sox.
Mengden has 1 career shutout. He blanked the Phillies last September at Citizens Bank Park 4-0. 9 scoreless, gave up 2 hits, struck out 7 in that ball game, and today goes for a 2nd career complete game and 2nd career shutout. 95 pitches, 71 strikes. He's not walked a batter, he struck out 4. Given up just 2 hits, both singles.
Mengden has not walked more than 1 batter in any start this year. He's had 4 starts where he didn't walk anybody. It would be 5 if he can finish this inning without walking a Diamondbacks hitter.
Little tapper in front of the plate. Stays fair for Maxwell. Nine straight since Peralta's single with 1 out in the 6th. That was the last D-backs base runner.
Number 44, Paul Goldschmidt.
Here's Goldie, the DH, batting 2nd. He's 0 for 3, struck out twice. Pitch number 100 from Daniel Mengden. Got him. Jake Lamb, last man standing. Put the shift on against Lamb. 3 infielders on the first base side. Piscotty in right field, shy of the wall out there. He leaps up and he's got it. And Mengden has his 2nd career shutout as the A's blank the D-backs 3-0 here at the Coliseum.
This is just one of those tip your cap days. Mengden didn't even give up a lot of hard contact in this ball game today. One of the finer pitching performances we've seen this season.
Back with more from Oakland. D-backs drop this one 3-0.